Warning. The following video contains strong language that some viewers may find offensive or disturbing.
Which cartoon character had the best character development and why? Some of the original Magic School Bus kids were pretty well developed. The reason Carlos is a joker is because he doesn't get as much attention at home because of his paraplegic brother. Keisha is more mature because she's being raised by her grandma, which leaves to wonder why her parents are absent, dead? Missionaries? Deadbeats? Phoebe's father is blind, which lead her to be an activist and always looking to help others. Wanda's mom is a herpetologist and an all-around badass. With that, and trying to be an awesome big sister to her baby brother. Wanda herself is quite the tomboy and badass. And so on. In Ben 10, Alien Force, Ben really took the position as leader of the group serious. And every bad thing that happened, he blamed himself. This is a nice contrast to his old self in original Ben 10. In which he was just a cocky, hot-headed, 10-year-old boy who was just still learning about his powers. Let's not forget that his cousin Gwen went from annoying cousin to badass serious chick as well. Edit, Alien Force is so underrated. I wish it got the same amount of love the OG did. Let's not forget Kevin, who went from manic to a more well-adjusted human being due to hanging out with Gwen and Ben. Rigby from regular show. He goes from lazy fuck that doesn't care about anything to a great guy that truly does care about his friends. Rigby quietly starting to date Eileen without any drama, while Mordecai has spent seasons stressing about Margaret, and his crazy love life will never not be my favorite thing. So surprising and yet completely makes sense with their characters and really cements Rigby's growth. Enzo Matrix from Reboot. Ish got real when Mainframe got opened up to the web. Literally was searching if anyone posted this. What a bizarre and fantastic show. Also, as a kid throughout the 90s, this show felt way more mature than any other cartoons at the time. In some ways same with Beast Wars. Sure, these shows were meant to sell toys and such, but give Reboot some credit for the bizarre ideas it had. Reboot deserves a lot of credit for being a show willing to go all CGI pre-Pixar. And honestly, that might have been enough. And Reboot probably would have been fondly remembered as a niche little experiment if they left it at that. But the crew didn't just call it a day there. An evolving status quo with mature ideas and character development, especially once they were free of S&P censorship, really elevated this show to the next level. And, of course, Beast Wars' top-notch crew helped elevate Transformers as a whole as well. Closing parenthesis. Aside from the gong in Avatar, I'm going to say Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon. He went from this unconfident little kid who was struggling to find his place in society to a brilliant leader who forged his own path. The character arcs in Samurai Champloo are very well written. They each grow into people they wouldn't have been if they hadn't teamed up. Currently rewatching Lilo and Stitch, and I wanna toss in Stitch. Sure, he became more of a mascot to sell toys. But the movie does a great job showcasing his change from a being solely bent on destruction to an essential part of Lilo and Nani's family. Edit, god damn it, just got to the part where he realizes that he is the cause of the destruction of Lilo and Nani's family and he leaves. Son of a bitch, why am I more sentimental now than when I was a child? Faye Valentine, if your heart didn't shatter into a million pieces for her during the VHS tape scene or the stick-drawn bed or when she's pleading with Spike not to leave, then I don't know what to say. After so many years, I still firmly believe that Cowboy Bebop is one of the best animes ever to exist. I've watched it 5+ times at this point. It's such a good story. Great universe building. Complex plot that becomes more apparent the more you watch it. Heart-wrenching moments. Unique characters. It's not the most intense show. It doesn't have crazy action every 10 seconds. But the action scenes it does have are great and the conflicts are very creative. Both Woody and Buzz from Toy Story. Especially the first one. Woody goes from being Andy's favorite to playing second fiddle early on. And has a really big shock to his system. Then he goes on a redemption arc where he gets rid of his jealousy. Buzz goes from believing he's the real Buzz Lightyear to having reality crash down on him. And then overcomes his depression when he finds his new purpose, to bring kids joy. I hate how they portrayed Buzz in TS4. A complete moron and clueless. Come on Pixar, he wasn't that dense. Edit, for those who disagree, compare the Buzz that leads toys in Woody's Rescue in Toy Story 2. Compared to TS4. Buzz made no effort until the very last scene to lead. Over the Garden Wall had so many amazing character developments. And lots of twists and turns. Over the Garden Wall is a goddamn classic that deserves way more acclaim and popularity. Also, Potatoes and Molasses will always be an absolute banger of a song. Pacifica Northwest from Gravity Falls started off as a snobby rich girl before mellowing R and almost stopping the apocalypse. Probably one of many reasons why Northwest Mystery Manor is one of my favorite episodes. All the characters from As Told by Ginger. They probably had the most realistic growth seen in a kid's cartoon. Plus they changed clothes daily and sometimes repeated parts of outfits. Which was a nice touch. One of my favorite cartoons from childhood. I watched it again a few years ago and it holds up really well. Edit, I am a little seal girl. Living in the real world. And it's so hard to get by. 'Cause seals can't even cry. I really love Simba. Goes from a spoiled kid to wanting to be brave to impress his dad to experiencing unbelievable trauma and guilt to repressing it all as a carefree young adult to finally accepting his destiny as king. But even when he goes back to fight Scar, he isn't willing to really break free of his guilt until Scar reveals that he killed Mufasa. The Elric brothers from Full Metal Alchemist. Edit, spelling. It's been a while since watching it. I have watched both FMA and FMAB, both good in their own way. But Brotherhood followed much closer to the source material. Also edit, I understand that the brothers don't change very much throughout the series. But their story develops significantly. Is fleshed out. With a rich history, backstory, and through the way we see them interact with other characters. I would argue this is where we observe change in the brothers. In the maturation of their relationships. Both with Lieutenant Armstrong and their childhood trainer, Guardian, are good examples. Our knowledge, perception of what exactly has transpired changes significantly through the series' development. Raven from Teen Titans. She grew up thinking that destiny was an unchangeable reality, succumbing to the threats of her father, and living a life full of anxiety and isolation because of her fears. Before dying, she had the hope that she was wrong about everything and gave each of her friends a portion of her soul to survive the brought forth apocalypse, granting them the chance they needed to survive and fight a bit longer. After all was said and done, and after it had cost her her very own life, she finally understood that her destiny was what she chose for it to be and not what others told her it was. Though she failed the first time, she was given a second chance to change it all and took it. Having grown from that experience, she came back stronger, more balanced, and more trusting in those who loved her, chose who truly was her family, and ended up saving her world from her father. Truly a great metaphor for life's choices, free will, and the dooming feeling of a predestined life. A great arc for a great character. Edit, for those asking. Raven sacrifices herself in the first episode of the 3-part finale to Season 4 called The End. Vegeta. He went from a villain to reluctant hero, rival to Goku to husband and father. Then he had his redemption in the Buu saga. Vegeta met a woman who wouldn't take his bullshit. He didn't know how to handle that. So he married her. Eva from Wall-E. Damn, when she tried to wake up dead, Wall-E broke my heart. Wall-E has to be one of my favorite movies. I swear I cry every time she tries to wake up Wall-E, and then when she holds his hand and sings because she finally realizes that's the only thing he wanted from her all along. Grunkle Stan from Gravity Falls. That whole show had great characters, but Stan had the most interesting ups and downs. Stan Pines grows more and more complex as the series goes on without ever once changing from his core gruff lovability. What an excellent man. He's the funniest character on the show as well. Everybody likes to quote, "Her aim is getting better," joke. But for me the latter's joke makes me lose it every time. You know, studies show that keeping a ladder in the house is more dangerous than a loaded gun. That's why I own 10 guns. In case some maniac tries to sneak in with a ladder. I feel like Hank Hill really grew throughout the series. It's really a show about the father-son relationship. And you get to see how his relationship with Cotton affected him. He doesn't full understand Bobby, but I think his motivation in trying to comes from not wanting to be like Cotton. Megamind. Poor guy had such an unfortunate start. Even then it became a blessing in disguise. Minion. Loved the way he became a hero in the end. Kahlua from Hunter x Hunter. Considering his background and his attitude in the first arc. And how much he changes into as the series goes on. From child assassin who gleefully murders to perhaps an empathetic and loving friend. Ice King from Adventure Time. Character development doesn't have to be for the best. Ice King is a perfect example of seeing a character slowly descend into madness. There are so many clues that hint about why he is how he is. What got me is his obsession with princesses. He called his fiancée Princess. He must have loved her so much that the pet name stayed with him even after the memory of her had clouded over. I'm not crying. You're crying. Loudly crying, loudly crying, loudly crying. Kuzco from Emperor's New Groove. Spoiled brat with everything, to spoiled brat with nothing, to less spoiled brat learning about teamwork, to fairly normal person, to getting everything back but not being spoiled anymore, but rather respectable. That scene where he saved Pacha's life and was celebrating was a true turning point. He realized he could get a great feeling by doing good rather than just fulfilling his own desires. Also a good lesson for the target audience. Edit, spelling. Carl from Up. I'm still mind blown that Pixar was able to create such a compelling story that addressed grief and loss. The realization, childhood dreams, being a father figure, and the search for meaning in life all into one animated movie. Edit, wow, first gold. Thank you kind stranger, grin. Zuko and Katara from ATL. Although Zuko has very well known character arc. Katara grows so much throughout the show. She meets the guy who killed her mother. She learnt bloodbending and so many more experiences. She grows from a mere child to a strong young woman. It is very interesting to watch so many characters grow in the same show throughout the story. Philip J. Fry from Futurama. I know it's a comedy show, but the most heartbreaking moments involve Fry and just how much he means to everyone or how much he does to help. I am only just realizing his growth as a character as I grow older too. A down in the dumps. Not so smart pizza delivery boy who is catapulted into a new life, and what does he do? Forgives his brother and appreciates his nephew. Is best friends and roommates with a robot who has almost as many problems as he does. Was the first kind person to Leela and was ready to die for her on multiple occasions. Saved the professor from humiliation. Saves universe more than once and comforts his mother just by dream hugging her. Secretly knowing that's what they both needed. Fry deserves more love and appreciation. Edit, thank you everyone for the awards and replies. I wrote this at 1 a.m. and had a good dopamine boost from all the upvotes and replies. My first silver award was from a comment on our Futurama. Do all these awards feel like they come from the right place and right time? Maybe I'll go buy some poplars. Bam. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button. See you next time.